Just when you think it can't get any crazier, Eric Holder, the first sitting member of any president's cabinet in history to be held in contempt of Congress, now weighing in on the spy scandal, the Obama spy scandal, the spy in the Trump presidential campaign. He tweeted this: more DOJ norms being eroded. Trump, a subject of the investigation, wants access to material related to the inquiry. His congressional supporters want evidence connected to an ongoing investigation. Time for DOJ, FBI to simply say no, protect the institutions and time-tested norms. To assess the madness of this moment, joining us, Victoria Tensing, Joe diGenova, the founding partners of diGenova and Tensing Law Firm. Great to have you both with us. Victoria, let me start with you. Your client is Sam Clovis. He apparently being approached by someone.
No.
Okay.
Lou, not approached, targeted.
Targeted.
It's
Okay.
Professor Halper. It targeted both Carter Page and my client Sam Clovis to meet with them and to try to set them up. It's very clear. I don't know who was directing him from the U.S. government. We don't have those facts yet, but it's very clear that they were being targeted. Here's what happened. In July, early July of 2016, Carter Page was at a conference in Cambridge and met the professor, Professor Halper. A week after that, Carter Page emailed Sam Clovis and said, there's this professor who's a fan of yours, seen you on CNN, wants to meet with you. Few weeks later, Professor Halper emails Sam Clovis and says, Carter Page suggested I meet with you. Now, does that sound like a setup? He was bootstrapping his introduction to Sam Clovis. And Sam has said to me that he never would have met with this guy. He didn't know him from Adam, but he used Carter Page's name, so he figured that, this was an all right person to meet with.
And, as we're listening to this, and Eric Holder is talking about the norms of the Department of Justice being under assault. Joe, I mean, what is Eric Holder on?
You have to remember, Lou, you set this up perfectly with the history of him having been held, the only attorney general ever to have been held in contempt of Congress. His tenure was a disgrace. He was responsible for Fast and Furious. He lied to Congress repeatedly. He covered up an immense number of bad cases. He covered for Hillary Clinton. He set in motion the complete politicization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. And he has the unmitigated gall to criticize this president. This president is acting stellar in the face of incredible leftover lawlessness from Comey and Lynch and Holder. All of those people who ran the Obama DOJ and FBI are law enforcement disgraces. They've embarrassed the department. They've embarrassed the FBI. They've embarrassed themselves. They've set the FBI back 10 years, and there's very little that can be done about that. If Eric Holder thinks that that's a good norm, what he did, I think he needs to see a psychiatrist.
And on the same day, James Clapper protesting that this is a perfectly reasonable thing to do, to plant a spy on the part of the FBI in a presidential campaign.
But it's not a spy. It's not a spy. It's an informant. He was just bringing back information.
Just a guy hanging around the cloakroom.
It depends on what is, Lou.
Yeah, I know. Forgive me for not parsing. And Joe, your wife has corrected me twice, and I have to defer both times to her corrections. Very quickly, your thoughts about the president making the decision to demand an investigation?
Oh, absolutely essential. And in fact, the president has done what any president should do. When the Justice Department is being run incompetently by Rod Rosenstein and Jeff Sessions, the president brought them over to the White House for the third time in 2 weeks to tell them to act like adults, run the place, get the information that's necessary to get this investigation over. I applaud the president. He is actually setting a good standard for holding accountable members of his cabinet who are incompetent.
Joe, thank you very much. Victoria, thank you very much.